Hey there! What if I told you that your desire for respect is just a mask? What if deep down you're actually craving power? Today we're diving into the minds of two psychology giants, Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, to uncover the hidden motives behind our actions. We'll explore why we chase power, how it's tied to our childhood and fears, and what you can do about it. Plus, I'll share 3 simple ways to figure out if you're really after respect or power. Stick around, this is going to blow your mind. Let's start with Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Freud believed that everything we do is driven by unconscious desires, things we don't even realize we want. And one of the biggest? The desire for power. He once said, "All human desires are expressions of deeper urges, often the urge to control others." But what does that mean for you? Think about this. Maybe you're at work and you're dying for your boss to praise you. You tell yourself, "I just want respect." But Freud would say, hold on, that's not the whole story. Behind your need for respect might be a deeper need to control. Respect makes you feel like you're in charge, like you're safe. For Freud, power is all about protecting yourself from your inner fears. So where does this come from? Freud pointed to childhood. He believed that our early experiences shape how we act as adults. If you didn't feel loved or secure as a kid, if your parents were too strict or distant, for example, you might have felt powerless. And now, as an adult, you're chasing power to make sure you never feel that way again. Let me give you an example. Imagine a coworker who always has to be the loudest voice in the room. They interrupt everyone, push their ideas, and need to be the one calling the shots. You might think, wow, what a show-off. But Freud would say, not so fast. Maybe as a kid they felt ignored or unheard. Now, power is their way of feeling seen. Does that sound familiar? Have you ever caught yourself trying to take control of a situation, maybe more than you needed to? Let's keep that in mind as we move on. Now let's talk about Carl Jung, who started as Freud's student, but later went his own way. Jung had a different take on power. He didn't just see it as a need to dominate, he thought it was a way to deal with inner struggles. Jung said, "People who chase power are often terrified of losing control. It's not about pride, it's about deep anxiety." For Jung, power is like a shield. It makes us feel safe in a world that can feel chaotic. Picture someone who always needs to be the center of attention, at parties, on social media, even at work. Jung would say, they're not just showing off, they're scared of being invisible, scared of not being accepted. Power, for them, is a way to hide their vulnerability. But here's where Jung gets really interesting. He believed power can also be a good thing. He thought it could help us bring together different parts of ourselves. For example, if you feel insecure, gaining power might make you feel whole, at least for a while. The catch? If you get too obsessed with power, you lose touch with who you really are. You start living for what others think, not for your own inner peace. Let's compare that to Freud. For Freud, power is a reaction to childhood wounds. For Jung, it's a way to manage our fears and insecurities. But both agree on one thing. Power is often a defense mechanism. It's a way to protect ourselves from what scares us most. So, what scares you? Think about that as we go deeper. Let's bring this to life with some examples. Think about a leader who's always hungry for power, someone who needs to control everything, from their team to their public image. Freud would say, this isn't just ambition. Maybe they felt powerless as a kid, and now they're overcompensating. Jung would add, they're terrified of losing control because deep down they feel vulnerable. But this isn't just about big leaders, it's about all of us. Have you ever had a moment where you really wanted someone to praise you? Maybe at work, with your family, or even with friends? You thought, I just want respect. But what if it's more than that? What if you wanted to feel in control? For example, think about a time you got into an argument with a friend. You fought hard to prove you were right. Sure, you wanted to stand up for yourself, but were you also scared of giving in, of feeling weak? Here's another example. Imagine a parent who's always micromanaging their kid. They say, "I just want them to succeed." But Freud and Jung might say, maybe they're scared of losing control. Maybe they were controlled too much as a kid, and now they're repeating the same pattern. Does any of this hit home for you? Have you ever noticed yourself trying to take control when you didn't need to? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. By the way, if you're enjoying this deep dive into Freud and Jung, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a quick like. It helps more people find content like this. And if you want to see more videos on psychology and self-discovery, consider subscribing. It means a lot to me. Oh, and I'd love to hear your take. Do you lean more toward Freud's idea that power comes from childhood wounds, or Jung's view that it's about managing fears? Have you ever thought about how power plays a role in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to see what you think. Now let's get to those practical tips I promised. So, how can you tell if you're chasing respect or power? I promised you 3 simple ways to figure it out, and here they are. First, pay attention to your emotions. When someone doesn't respect you, how do you feel? If you get angry or scared, it might not just be about respect, it might be about control. For example, if it drives you crazy when a coworker ignores your ideas, ask yourself, do I want to be heard? Or do I want things to go my way? Second, think back to your childhood. Freud was onto something here. Ask yourself, did I feel safe as a kid? Were my parents strict? Or did I feel ignored? If you felt powerless back then, that might be why you're drawn to power now. Third, watch how you react in tough situations. Jung said, power is a shield against vulnerability. Do you hate looking weak? For example, do you avoid apologizing even when you're wrong because it feels like a loss? That's a sign you might be chasing power, not respect. So, what can you do about it? The first step is awareness. If you realize you're seeking power because of fear, you can start working on that fear. Try this. Let yourself be vulnerable in a safe space. Maybe talk to a friend, admit a mistake, or ask for advice. It'll help you see that you don't always need control to feel okay. And here's the big takeaway. There's nothing wrong with wanting power. Freud and Jung both taught us that our desires are natural. It's all about understanding where they come from. When you do, you can channel that energy into something better, like finding true inner peace instead of chasing an illusion. That's all for today. Now you know why we chase power, thanks to Freud and Jung. So what drives you, respect or power? Share your thoughts in the comments below, maybe even a story where you notice this in your life. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to tap the bell so you never miss a new video. See you next time.